Rosie is a very cheery, thoughtful, and very useful engine. She was the one who had helped out with Thomas because she had admired him very much. She can be seen taking goods on the main line and shunting cars at the coal yard. It was a pretty dirty job, but Rosie didn't mind. She was just happy to help, no matter how tricky the job was. One autumn evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to see her in the shed. "Good morning, sir," she squeaked. "The same to you, Rosie," chuckled Sir Topham Hatt. "Say, are you busy this day?" "Not really," answered Rosie politely. "Very well," continued Sir Topham Hatt. "I have a special task for an engine like you. There have been more ships coming into Brendam docks, and Salty can't handle the workload alone. I've had Thomas to help him, but he won't be enough. I'd like you to come and help the two there at once." Rosie was very excited to do a job that didn't involve coal. "Oh, yes, sir. Of course, sir. I won't let you down, sir," she peeped, and she raced out of her shed as fast as her wheels would let her. Rosie was very excited. Working at the docks reminded her of her own line. She had once used to work at a harbor on the other railway. When she arrived at Brendam docks, she was amazed. The seagulls called in the distance, cranes swirled from side to side. "Oh, it's just like a dream come true," she sighed. "More like a nightmare come true," groaned Cranky. Just then, Salty showed up. "Ahoy there, shipmate," he cried. "Pleasure to be beside the sea, isn't it?" Rosie was cross when she saw Salty, and she huffed crossly away. Salty was very surprised. Soon Rosie was being really useful. She handled the cars well, arranged them in their proper sidings, and was careful not to bump them really hard. But whenever she saw Salty, she would puff away or wouldn't even glance at him. This made the dockyard diesel very upset. Later that night, Rosie was spending the night in the shed when Thomas puffed up. "Hello, Rosie," he tooted. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here to help out," Rosie smiled. "Didn't you hear Sir Topham Hatt?" "I can't. I don't have ears," chuckled Thomas. Rosie then giggled. But then Thomas thought of something. Salty was sad the other day. I wonder what's wrong with him. "Salty," spluttered Rosie. "That diesel, that sailor scrubbing diesel doesn't deserve a place here." Thomas was puzzled. "What are you talking about, Rosie?" "Me and my class were built on the other railway to work at the docks there. We handled the trucks smoothly and were very efficient. But then came along diesels like Salty. They took away everything. And he might do it again. Engines like me are gone now because of engines like him." Thomas was speechless, but offended. "Now come on, Rosie," he puffed. "I know not being able to last long is very sad, but you can't take your anger out on those who had nothing to do with it. Besides, Salty is a kind diesel, like many others. You shouldn't judge him by his looks." Rosie gasped. Now she really felt bad for hurting Salty. The next day, Salty was working very hard, and he did his jobs without fuss. But he was still upset of what Rosie had said to him. But as he was preparing to refuel, he felt a little better. Get it out of your mind. Get it out of your mind, Captain, he stammered. He was so busy thinking about Rosie that he didn't see the truck ahead of him until it was too late. Salty was caught by surprise. Then the truck smashed through the buffers and into the sea. Salty was in a terrible situation. He was dangling on the edge of the quayside. He tried to reverse, but his wheel slipped on the edge. "Oh, shiver me axles," he cried. "Help! Help! I'm going overboard!" And he hooted an alarm. Rosie heard this and saw Salty dangling at the edge of the quay. "Oh no!" she cried. "Salty will be lost at sea." She had an idea. Thinking quickly, she steamed as fast as she could to the dock. Then her driver attached a rope to Salty's coupling. Then, puffing hard, Rosie heaved and hauled Salty back onto the rails. Salty was very heavy, but Rosie wouldn't give up. Then at last, with a sigh of relief, Salty was saved. The dock workers clapped and cheered for Rosie. Rosie was very exhausted, but triumphant. "Oh, thank you, me lass," Salty exclaimed. "What would I have done without you?" Later, as the mess was being cleared, Rosie shared the same shed with Salty and Thomas. "Salty, I am so sorry for being rude to you. I only thought you were going to replace me again." "Ah, never mind, me lass," soothed Salty. "No damage done to your captain here." "Well done, Rosie," exclaimed Thomas. "You've proven yourself a hero to save Salty, even though you were rude to him at first. And besides, not all diesels are rude." "I know that now," cried Rosie. "And I'm happy to work with you, Salty. For an engine like you." Salty smiled. They both knew they had a good friend in each other.